Jetzt geht's los.
Jetzt läuft's.
User
Aha.
left your channel.
Yes. Hello. And welcome to the 5th round of the TCC Championship here on IVRC. We're shortly before the race start. Mark Straka again will start from the pole position. We're today 13 drivers, 13 racers here on this track in Donington in the United Kingdom in Leicestershire, in the beautiful Midlands of the UK. And with beautiful, I mean quiet gray. Anyway, yeah. First row, like usual, Max Verker in front of Peter Jones, but we will come to that later. 3 weeks ago in Argentina, Max Verker won the race. Repsol Spinnagle Racing is now leading the championship, 304 points in front of 2012 Motorsport with 197, and Max Verker is leading the championship with 195 points in front of Peter Jones, 122 points. So quite a gap. Yeah, Christian Alvarez won the first race. He is the first driver not called Max Verker to win a race here. And Max Verker won the second race. Can Mark continue his run of winning a race every race weekend? That will be quite interesting to see, actually. And now here on track, as we see Laszlo Teglas jumping around off track. As we're now 14 drivers actually. And the race starts in, roughly a minute. In that time I could already look for a good place to watch the start at. I think that's a good camera for the start. And yeah, stuff you see right now is stuff you can expect in the race. A lot of racing, maybe some crashes. We'll see. Yeah, and here we are. Quickly going through the starting grid. First Max Verker, second Peter Jones, third Philip Strübing, fourth Saulius Laurinavicius, fifth Alejandro Munoz, sixth Callum Ghosn, seventh Christian Alvarez, eighth Dovydas Laurinavicius, ninth Thomas Raschke, 10th Francisco Vasquez, 11th Laszlo Teglas, 12th Sven Arne Andersen, 13th Nahuel Fulgenci, and 14th Felix Kims. And the lights go on. 4 red lights. And away we go. Max Tracker seems to get away good. But Peter Jones appears to stay next to him. Everyone goes through the first corner. Looks like... No! Oh! Teglas with a big slide there. But Mark leads the race. Well, I had a big lag there. Mark in front of Peter, then Saulius, Strübing, Gon, Munoz, Dovidas, Alvarez, Raschke, Teglas, Vasquez, Anderson, who touched with Fulgenci, and then Kims. There goes Teglas very, very wide. And there goes Teglas again, very, very wide. This time touches even the wall. Falls down to last position. Long standing tire there for Saulius Laurinavicius. So, the standings after the first lap. Strucker first, Jones second, third, Laurinavicius. 4 Strübing, 5 Gon, 6 Laurinavicius, 7 Munoz, Alvarez, Raschke, Vasquez, Anderson, Fulgenci, Kims, and last place so far, Teglas. Let's look at this fight between Callum Gunn and Dovidas Laurinavicius. Gunn that looked like he went a bit far off. Now the attack from Dovidas. They touch. Gunn for defense. Sends Dovidas wide over the grass there. And now Munoz attacks Dovidas. And Dovidas again goes wide. And now he completely misses the corner. That's Alvarez who goes past him. Callum Gunn doesn't take that corner perfectly, and now the attack from Munoz. Munoz on the inside. Great overtake there from Alejandro Munoz. Oh, and now he does a mistake and Callum Gunn retakes the 5th place. In the background there's a lot of spicy racing. Here was Kims, Fulgenci and Raschke. And here we have Munoz attacking Gunn again into turn 1. Now there's Alvarez as well in the lottery. And Gunn now is a mistake, and I think that might now enable Munoz to take 5th position. In the background we see Alvarez against... Oh, and Alvarez and Gunn completely touch. Where's Alvarez? There's Alvarez going backwards, back on the track, and he now takes, I think, Kims and Anderson and Fulgenci. Big crash. Fulgenci with a flip. Anderson with a flip. A big one. A big crash here. There comes Teglas now in the background. Way too fast, and now he crashes into Alvarez. Vasquez has put the car to rest, essentially. We'll start the second race from last position. Alvarez keeps the car going. Let's go through the rankings after this quickly. Mark Strecker still leading the race. Then Peter Jones. Third, Saulius Laurinavicius. Fourth, Philipp Strübing. They are quite close. 5th, Dovidas Lorinavicius. Then Munoz, Kims, Roshke, Fulgenci. Stwerker in the meantime with the fastest lap. Gunn, 10th, 11th, Teglas, 12th, Anderson, 13th, Alvarez. Now let's drive a lap with the leading car. Oh, Peter Jones goes there very, very far off the track. That's Philip Strümming, I think, who went very wide there in the background. While we stay with the race leader for now. And that was roughly half a lap around this circuit. Let's drive a little bit with this group. Saulius, Lorinavicius, Philipp Strübing and Dovidas Lorinavicius. Appears that Philipp Strübing could go faster than Saulius Lorinavicius. But driving close is a different, or driving, closing the gap is a different thing than actually overtaking, especially now that Dovidas Lorinavicius is there as well and attacks Philipp Strübing. Now this could help Saulius Lorinavicius in keeping that position while there was a yellow flag for something. Oh, that looks like Saulius now got, Dovidas now got a good exit out of the chicane. Attacks on the inside for P4, goes past and takes P4. Can Philipp Strübing launch a counter attack? Oh! Saulius goes wide and loses both positions. Dovidas now in third. I'm sorry for these technical difficulties we just had. Yeah, Dovidas now third, Strübing fourth, Saulius now fourth, and Munoz is somehow also still there in sixth, even though he was involved in that crash. Here we have Rotschke and Kims, Fulgenci, Gunn, Teglas, Anderson. And Strübing is close to Saulius Lorinavicius yet. but not close enough to start an overtake attack. Maybe end of this turn, while in the background we see Saulius doing another mistake, costing him time in the fight against Munoz. Here's no overtake attempt, and here is none either. Where's Strübing trying the attack? After all, this is a very fast track. Oh, both go a bit wide there. Up the hill now. Dovidas tries to make no room for Strübing to even drive next to him. Oh, and Strübing goes quite wide there. Over a little jump. To the tight chicane. And I would almost say it looked like Strübing was getting the better exit, but it only looked like that because he was going wide. Looked like he was able to go quicker there. And Dovidas now with a much tighter entry to this corner, which is interesting. Last corner. Now Strübing with a tighter turn through that. And in the background we get now an attack from Alejandro Munoz against Saulius Laurinavicius, I think. At least it looked like it. No. Oh, and Dovidas with a mistake! Goes off, but doesn't lose too much time there. But Strübing is now even closer. Doesn't lose position, but loses a bit of time. Both go wide on that curb there. And both go tight on that corner. In this battle for third position. It appears that Strübing can take a lot of the corners tighter. And Dovidas is suddenly gone. Is that a disconnect? It almost looks like a disconnect, and Strübing takes third position now. Saulius fourth, Munoz fifth. Dovidas still in 6/7 now. I think that's a disconnect. Yep, that's a disconnect. Dovidas Laurinavicius is out with a disconnect. That's very, very unfortunate. Then let's look at this duel between Saulius and Munoz. Saulius with a little bit of Vilnius drift. And now Munoz with the attack. Outside line attempt. No, and now he goes wide and Munoz takes fourth position. I mean, they're teammates, but for both Laurinavicius, it's going from bad to worse here right now. And now we don't really have any battles on track, so we just stay with the, smaller fight here for P4. Let's go through the order real quickly. First, Max Tracker. Second, Peter Jones. Third, Philipp Strübing. Fourth, Alejandro Munoz. Fifth, Saulius Laurinavicius. Sixth, Felix Kim. Seventh, Nahuel Fulgenci. 8th, Thomas Roschke. 9th, Callum Gunn. 10th, Laszlo Teglas. 11th, Christian Alvarez. 12th, Sven Arne Andersen. Did not finish Douglas Laurinavicius with the disconnect. And 14th, Francisco Vasquez with the accident. Oh, Callum Gunn goes wide there. Is there anyone who could profit off of it? Not really. Next car is Laszlo Teglas, roughly 11 seconds behind that. Oh, and now Teglas goes wide. But Alvarez is too far away from profiting off of it. Not a lot happening here in the last couple of minutes, unfortunately. Oh, Callum Gunn goes wide again. But like earlier said, Teglas roughly 11 seconds behind him. Alvarez appears to close the gap a little bit to Teglas, but I don't think it will be enough until the race is over. But here's the race leader, never in doubt actually. Drove the perfect race so far. And it appears that it won't really change that it's the perfect race he drives. In front of this man, Peter Jones, who today just isn't fast enough. In third position, Philipp Strübing at the moment, after a hard battle for third position against both Laurinavicius and Munoz actually. Munoz in fourth position right now. Fifth, Saulius Laurinavicius had to fell back in the order a little bit, or in like time wise. Sixth position, Felix Kims. Seventh, we have Nahuel Fulgenci. Eighth, Thomas Raschke. Ninth, Callum Gunn. 10th, Laszlo Teglas. 11th, Christian Alvarez. 12th, Sven Arne Andersen. 25 seconds behind Alvarez. But not lapped. Not lapped. And now the time is over. And this is the last lap of the race. and we're gonna watch it from Max Twerker's point of view. Can see Anderson in front of him at least. Oh, but I don't think he cares a lot, but you know. Unless Anderson spins in any way. But other than that, he will drive a very dominant race win here in Donington. Wins another race. I think it's now, yeah, 8 out of 9 he has won. And in one of them he got second behind his teammate Alvarez. And Mark Stwerker wins the race in Donington. Right now, congratulations! Second place will go to Peter Jones. Third position, Philip Struwing. Again, 2 Repsol Swinagles on the podium. Force Munoz, and we hear the information that Laszlo Teglas is out of this race, which will give Alvarez and Anderson another position. Force Munoz, 5th will be Saulio Sorinavicius, 6th Felix Kims, unless he does a bigger mistake, because then Fulgenci would be able to get past him, but he doesn't. Fulgenci 7th. 8th Thomas Rushke in a very, very, very disformed Ardmore. 9th Callum Gunn. 10th Christian Alvarez. And 11th Sven Arne Anderson. Eventually. He now gets over the line as the last place who finishes. And now we can try to find out what happened to Laszlo Teglas. Oh no, that looks like... Oh, he crashed! He crashed on the last lap! Throws away 10th position! That's really unfortunate for the Hungarian. And Saulio Sorinavicius crashed the car on his go-home lap. That's something. But this man wins the race, Mark Strecker, and I'm expecting him any second now in victory lane and for the interview for the race. Any second now. We are awaiting Max Strecker for the interview. For the race. About the race, better said.
User joined your channel.
And I assume there is the winner of this race, Max Strecker, 8 out of 9. That looked like a pretty good Sunday drive for you.
Yeah, well, it worked out pretty fine in the end. I expected basically I expected the tire degradation to lead me into way more trouble to the end of the race. I was despite the fact the tire was down to like 50% and up to 145 degrees Celsius, I was still able to somehow manage the former lap times from the beginning of the race just by 2 or 3 tenths. And therefore, this was quite successful today
Yeah.
so
Uh,
far.
um, yeah, pole raceman, never really in doubt. It felt like you had like roughly a second where you're up in front of Peter Jones after the start, immediately after the start almost, and then you just took off. How much of the carnage that behind you happened did you gather during the race?
Um,
Like,
I think. Sorry.
like there were cars literally barrel rolling over the track at one point.
I didn't really get anything of that, to be honest. I've just seen that I was closing up, yeah, extremely to the end to Sven Arne Andersen and getting into position for maybe lapping him. But I don't know how it happened and what really was going on there. So, I mean, I drove my race, my personal race against Peter Jones, basically. Um, sure, there was the gap, but a little mistake leading into some crash or something would have destroyed it. And so I was still focused till the end. Yeah, now we'll see how race 2 works out in the end.
Yeah,
Still,
you don't have to start from way back in race two, considering there were three DNFs. Was like, even though I don't know how Laszlo Taylor's DNF is going to count, considering it was the last lap, but with Dovidas Laurinavicius and Nahuel Fulgenci, Francesco Vasquez being DNF'd and starting even behind you.
yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I realized that the starting grid is really, really close and really dense, and that will definitely lower my chances of overtaking people right on the beginning. I'm sure about that because I don't really know where to go and avoid the other drivers. But yeah, I'll do my best to get some pretty result for race 2, and we'll see how it works out. I mean, right now it's somehow comfortable. I mean, of course, the season is still a long way to go, and Peter isn't that far off in the end. But yeah, it's a little bit comfortable today because one win is already there, so the, the minimum goal is fulfilled, and we'll see how it works out.
So, will I see you here in 13 minutes again in Victory Lane?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think so. The field is pretty packed today, and I think there are other guys who will be able to hold the gap to the end, so I won't be able to overtake everyone.
All right, then prepare for the second race and have a good one. And possibly, like I always say after these interviews, after the first race, and then I see you in the after the second race again. We see each other after the second race again here in Victory Lane.
We'll see each other. Don't know when, but we do. Till then.
Well then.
User left your channel.
And we're back again. Now for the second race. Things got a little bit intense at some points in this race. In the first race. But yeah, Mark Stricker now has to start from more back to grid, and it will be interesting. Christian Alvarez, who already won a race, will start further up the grid now after his pretty bad first race. Yeah, he with that has a pretty good chance to win the second race, so. Pole setter should be either Sven Arne Andersen or Laszlo Teglis. I'm not sure about that, who's gonna be. I'm just gonna say it might be Anderson. Depends on how the race control is basically counting Teglis, considering he crashed on the last lap. Are they counting him as, finished and a lap down, or are they counting him as did not finish? Because the difference is he's either going to start on pole position or he's going to start on P12. So a difference of 11 places between those two. So, who do you think will win this race? Write it into the comment section if you're watching the real life, or into the chat directly if you're watching this live. So, let's go quickly through the grid. First Anderson, second Alvarez, third Gunn, fourth Roschke, fifth Fulgenci, sixth Kim, seventh Saulius Orinavicius, 8th Munoz, 9th Strübing, 10th Peter Jones, 11th Max Twerker, 12th Laszlo Teglas, 13th Dovidas Lorinavicius, 14th Francisco Vasquez. The tension before the lights go on and then on green. People flash their lights in the background as we see. And the lights, the red lights go on. And they're off and away we go. Alvarez appears to have the best start. Leads the race by a mile. That's Anderson on the grass, who immediately goes to the back of the pack. Oh, and Munoz gets spun out. And Fulgenci spins. It was either Vasquez or Kims that spun out Munoz. Here we have Stwerka in the battle. Strübing gets pushed out. But I think that was Peter Jones. And now Stwerka goes past the outside against Peter Jones. Oh, and there go a lot of drivers wide, Teglas especially, and Alvarez already has a nice gap. And touching. Jones spins almost. Vasquez goes wide as well as Dovidas Lorinavicius. Here comes Munoz. Next bunch of corners. Where's Stwerka is already past Peter Jones, and now he's attacking his teammate Callum Gunn, who's way too aggressive, and he touches Rushka and he spins. And Teglas, I think, was it who drove into him, and Peter Jones into Teglas essentially there. A lot of things happening here. Munoz overtakes Vasquez, I think. Let's quickly go through the order. First Alvarez, second Lorinavicius, third Rushka, fourth Stwerker, fifth Teglas, sixth Jones, seventh Strübing, eighth Kims, ninth Anderson, 10th Dovidas, 11th Munoz, 12th Vasquez, 13th Fulgenci, 14th Callum Gunn. And Stwerker is close to Rushka, and Stwerker attacks Rushka and goes past fairly easily. Here we have a battle with Teglas and Peter Jones, and Strübing and Kims, and Peter Jones overtakes Teglas, who tries to re-attack, and now Strübing will attack Teglas and goes past him as well. And now Peter Jones will have his sights set on Thomas Rushka. And Alvarez is already leading the race by 4.5 seconds. Showing that his pace is not that bad, he just had a very bad first race. And now Stwerka is close to Saulius Orinavicius. That's gonna be the battle for second position now. In the background we see Rushka against Peter Jones, and I think there was an attack coming from Peter Jones. Tries to look for the inside lane into the braking zone, but Rushke defends aggressively but fairly, and now Peter Jones comes. Did they touch? Oh, and now Rushke goes wide, and also Saulius went wide, so Stwerker gets second. Where does Rushke come back onto this track? With Strübing. Strübing now in 5th position, Jones 4th, Rushke 6th, Teglas, and then Kims. And now Strübing and Rushke into the tight chicane without touching, but with Rushke going over the curbs there. There's Doidas, who was kind of slow there. There's Vasquez, who will probably get overtaken by fellow Argentinian Fulgenci. And Rushke is again in front of Strübing yet. Now. And now Tegla's optimistic, and he crashes into Rushke, and he crashes off Rushke. Very scrappy stuff happening here. Tegla's completely missing his braking point there and crashing into Thomas Rushke. Fulgenci now very close to Vasquez. Here could an attack could come here fairly soon. Or Vasquez just goes extremely wide. Can Fulgenci take advantage? Yes, he's past him. However, is still leading the race in front of Stwerker. Saulius 3rd, Peter Jones 4th, Strübing 5th, Tegla 6th, Kim 7th, Dovidas 8th, 9th Anderson, 10th Munoz, 11th Rushke, 12th Fulgenci, 13th Vasquez, 14th Gunn. And it looks like Saulius is about to battle Peter Jones for 3rd position. And Philipp Strübing is there as well. And even Teglas, Kims, and Dovidas can kind of go the same pace. Kims against Dovidas here. Can Dovidas get past Felix Kims? That looked too quick from Kims there, but he gets through. Better than Dovidas actually. And now Peter Jones is close to Saulius Laurinavicius. The attack comes on the inside. And Peter Jones takes 3rd position. And Strübing now against Saulius as well. On the long straight, the little jump. Saulius brakes very late and he touches Jones! Jones keeps 3rd position. Saulius keeps 4th position. But Teglas... Oh, Teglas here in the battle with Kims and Dovidas. Also very interesting. Saulius again very late on the brake. Dovidas completely misses it on the other hand. Makes up 2 places just to lose them immediately. Dovidas now in the inside of Kims. Makes the move stick now. Mark Stwerker in the meantime with the fastest lap. He can see his teammate and he's faster than his teammate actually. Saulius Laurinavicius now against Philipp Strübing. In the background we see Laszlo Teglas against Dovidas Laurinavicius. Where does Philipp Strübing try to attack? I think Peter Jones lost there some time, was going very wide there. Strübing looks quicker through these corners. While in the background we see Laszlo Teglas against Dovidas Laurinavicius and against Felix Kims. And Dovidas now in 6th position. Oh, Saulius goes wide, but Strübing goes wide as well. And Kims now past Teglas as well. But Munoz can't get past him there. Now tries outside attack. Kims against Teglas again. Teglas again in front of Kims. But where can Strübing attack Saulius Laurinavicius? Let's go through the order really quickly. First Alvarez, then Stwerker, Jones, Saulius, Laurinavicius, Strübing, Laurinavicius, Teglas, and Kims goes completely off there. Still alive though. Now Vasquez, his teammate, goes off in the same corner. New try to go through the order. First Alvarez, then Stwerker, Jones, Strübing, Saulius, Dovidas, Laszlo, Teglas, Anderson, Munoz, Fulgenci, Raschke, Vasquez, Gon, Kims, who has lost a lot of time. And there's a lot of smoke. Does he have a puncture? I think he might have a puncture, Felix Kims. Yeah, definitely front left puncture. Oh, and Munoz against Anderson and Fulgenci. That's very aggressive, and Munoz gets spun around by Anderson. Goes back on track. Raschke and Vasquez avoid him. Anderson waits for him. Not necessarily his fault, in my opinion, there. But fair nonetheless. And now Strübing is close to Peter Jones for the 3rd position. Oh, Vasquez goes wide. Raschke also quite wide there. Vasquez completely mows the lawn. Gunn goes wide. Kims, meanwhile, goes wide in the last corner with his puncture. We'll go to the pits now. And now back to this fight for the last podium position between Peter Jones and Philipp Strübing. It appears that Strübing is faster than Peter Jones, but not fast enough to overtake him. And Mark Stwerker, in the meanwhile, was the fastest lap, and he's now really close to his teammate, as we can see. It's only the gap is down to 2 seconds. He is faster than him, and he might as well get the gap closed, and we might see a battle for the win here in the last bunch of laps, the last bunch of minutes of this race. Will we see a Repsol Swinigal Racing battle for the win again? Like we saw in Argentina. Same in the first race. There was Alvarez for Stwerker as well, and Stwerker seemed to be faster. He's definitely closing the gap. Alvarez goes quite wide there. Again, Alvarez goes wide there. We see all the smoke. And Jones against Strübing is also still a battle for third position. And now Strübing appeared to have the better exit. And now I think we might get an attack from Philip Strübing against Peter Jones into turn 1. He's next to him. Peter Jones tries to go very wide and Strübing takes third position. Will we see the switchback from Peter Jones? He at least gets next to him and past him again. Peter Jones back into third place. And now Strübing with the attack again. But Peter Jones can defend. It really looks like Strübing's best chance to overtake is into turn 1. And they are also now about to lap Felix Kims. Well, the battle for the win is closing down. Let's strictly go through the order. First Alvarez, second Stwerker, third Jones, fourth Strübing, fifth Stovidas, sixth Saulius, seventh Fulgenci, eighth Teglas, ninth Raschke, 10th Vasquez, 11th Munoz, 12th Anderson, 13th Gunn, 14th Kims. And we now have a battle for the win even in the last 3.5 minutes. Pretty evident that Stwerker is the faster one of these two at the moment. But Stwerker also bit his teeth out on Alvarez in the last race, in the first race of the last round. Couldn't get past him. Very aggressive defending there from Alvarez back then. Back onto the start-finish straight. 2 minutes left on the clock. But Stwerker with the extra ballast appears to not have the straight line speed. It might have to be a Hail Mary attempt from Mark Stwerker for the race win. One and a half minutes left. And it looks like Stwerker now got the better exit. 1 minute left. And where is Stwerker going to try to attack for the win? Not into the chicane, surely. Unless Alvarez does a mistake. Stwerker now even pushing Alvarez a little bit through the corner. Through the exit of the corner. And now the attack comes from Stwerker. And he takes the lead. 35 seconds before the end, Max Stwerker takes the lead. And it's presumably one more lap between these two now. Has the inside line into the last corner. Alvarez tries to switch back, doesn't have the power for it. Stwerker leads. Between those two, still John third, Strubing fourth. And Alvarez tries to go up the inside. They touch. Alvarez slides Max Stwerker with the headlines very aggressively. And Alvarez retakes the lead into the first corner of the last lap. This is definitely the last lap. Next attempt from Stwerker. They touch again, I think. Where can Stwerker overtake? Is it again the second to last corner where he will do it? Alvarez looks like he goes very wide there. Over the little jump here on the straight. Again they touch and now Stwerker goes into the inside and Stwerker takes the lead. 2-3 corners before the end. No, Alvarez retakes the lead. Stwerker again into the second to last corner. Retakes the lead. One more corner to go. Will Alvarez risk it all for the win? Stwerker has the inside. Alvarez on the outside. Stwerker sends Alvarez wide and Max Stwerker wins the race in Donington, the second one. Alvarez passed again. And Jones and Strubing touch in the last corner, but Jones keeps the third position. Peter John third, Strubing fourth, Dovidas fifth. What happened to Saulius? He's eighth now. Fulgenci will finish in sixth place in the second race. Seventh, it appears to be Tiglas. Oh, there's a lot of damage on Saulius. Something happened. Lascio Tiglas takes 7th. Saulius 8th. Munoz against Raschke for 9th position. It's a drag race to the finish line. Munoz still far in front. Munoz. It's Raschke. Raschke takes Munoz. Vasquez 11th. Anderson will finish in 12th. Callum Gunn will finish in 13th. Felix Kims as 14th and only car lapped already over the line. But this man won his second TCC race this season, Christian Alvarez. After his first race win at the last round in Argentina, he wins the second race here in Donington in a thrilling final for the win. In front of Max Stwerker. 0.111 seconds was the difference. Now he crashes into the pit lane. That will potentially cost a little bit of money. What happened there with Stwerker? It looked like he went off the gas there. Very curious case. What a second race. Action non-stop in this second race for over 20 minutes. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Will we get someone into the interview box? Is someone?
User joined your channel.
And there is someone. Second place driver Mark Strucker. Mark!
Hello.
What happened there on the start-finish straight?
Well, it must have been an engine problem or something. I don't know.
That didn't look like an engine problem. That looked like an Austrian problem, let's say it like that.
I don't know what you mean, to be honest. Oh, to be really honest with you, well, Christian had an awesome start. He was leading the race nearly the whole time, and the gap to Peter and Philip behind us was really big. But I kept pushing and somehow was able to attack Christian throughout the last 2 laps. Then there was one move I wasn't that happy with in turn 1 when he basically dived to my inside and pushed me a little bit wide. But then afterwards I miscalculated my own braking point in the chicane a little bit, miscalculated the slipstream there, and touched Christian, so he nearly spun out. And that's when I decided, you know what, I will leave him by if I overtake him in the last 2 corners, which happened. And Christian deserved the win, and therefore he got it.
But the start phase, apart for Christian because he set off immediately, seemed very hectic. How did you see the first couple of laps?
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty much in the pack in the beginning. I had a really good start. The gap opened up, luckily, so I was able to pull like 3 or 4 positions into the front. And then I got pushed by Laszlo Teglas really hard in turn 1. Basically, he pushed me basically into his own teammate, Fulgenci, who then spun out, unfortunately. I don't know if I will receive a penalty for that. I hope not. If so, it shall be. And then because of that, I dropped back 2 positions behind Philip and Jones. But I had a really good exit out of turn 5, so I was able to attack both of them immediately and got through the field quite well with some help of the others. Rushka let me by, and Saulis Laurenavicius made a mistake. And then I was up into second already. So the starting procedure was, of course, as usual, very hectic, but it worked out quite fine.
Yeah. Again, first and second, just like last round, just in a different order. Last time, first race, second race, first. This time, first race, first, second race, second. The championship is like forming more and more into your favor here.
Yeah, we're doing really fine. I mean, the team's championship is going really well as well. I mean, today was extraordinary good, basically, with finishing P1, P3 in race 1 and P1, P2 in race 2. We're jumping away there. That's really good to see. In the Drivers' Championship, the gap is getting bigger and bigger. Dovidas had a really lucky race 1, very unlucky race 1, sorry. Don't know what really happened there. And race 2, Peter got held up way more in the fights than me, and that brought me back into the meanwhile usual order.
Okay. Yeah, still a very good race, and I don't want to hold you up anymore on this like beautiful weekend here in Leicestershire. Have a nice weekend still here in the Midlands, and I guess I see you at the next race then.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and have a nice weekend yourself, and we'll hopefully meet in another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Good boy.
Till then.
User left your channel.
And with that, I also say goodbye to you, the viewers of this stream. We had a very exciting second race. First race had its moments, but the second race was very, very exciting. With that, goodbye until in 2 weeks, like Mark said.